So first we're going to start off with the directional terms of the body. First we're going to start with anterior, meaning towards the front. So the palms are on the anterior side of the body. Then we have posterior, meaning towards the back. Our spinal cord is on the posterior side of the body. Then we have superior, meaning towards the head, and our nose is superior of the mouth, so that means our nose is above our mouths. Then we have inferior, meaning towards the tail. Inferior is also known as caudal, caudal meaning tail, so that's like a good way that I, it's kind of a good way for me to like understand it, caudal meaning tail. So inferior, again, caudal meaning tail. So we could say the nose is inferior to our eyes. The nose is inferior to our eyes, so our nose is below our eyes. So then we have proximal, meaning closer to the point of origin. For proximal, let's think. Okay. So proximal, we could say our elbow is proximal to our wrist, because our elbow is closer to our shoulder than our wrist is. Then we have distal, meaning further away from the point of origin. For distal, we could do our knee is distal to our hip. So our knee is further away from our hip than our hip is, I guess. For medial meaning closer to the midline of the body. For medial, I would say, I'm not sure. For medial, let's do our nose is medial to our ears. Yeah, so our nose is medial to our ears. Our nose is more in the middle than our ears are. For lateral meaning farther away from the midline of the body. So for that, we could do our shoulder is lateral to our belly button. Our shoulder is lateral to our belly button. Superficial meaning closer to the surface of the body. Our hair is superficial to our skin. Skin is superficial to muscle. Skin is superficial to bone. And then we have deep. So deep is further away from the surface. So we could do bone is deep to skin. Bone is deep from skin because it is deeper, further away from the surface. Alright, so first we're going to start off with the 4 quadrants of the body. We have our right upper quadrant, RUQ. Then we have our left upper quadrant, our left lower quadrant, and our right lower quadrant. So we have our right upper quadrant, right lower quadrant, left lower quadrant, left upper quadrant. Then we have 9 regions, the 9 body regions. So first we're going to start off with the upper right hypochondriac region. Then we have our epigastric region. Then we have our left hypochondriac region. Then we have our right lumbar region. Then we have our umbilical region in the middle. Then we have our left lumbar region. Then we have our right inguinal region. Then we have our hypogastric, which hypo meaning below the epigastric, hypogastric, and then we have our left inguinal region. So again, we have our right hypochondriac region is the very first layer, well, not the very first layer, but it's like the very top one, the very top right, our right hypochondriac. Then we have our epigastric, and then we have our left hypochondriac. Then we have our right lumbar, our umbilical. Then we have our left lumbar. Then we have our right inguinal, our hypogastric, and our left inguinal. So first we have our sagittal plane. Our sagittal plane divides our body into left and right sections from top to bottom. Our mid-sagittal plane divides the body into left and right sections in the middle, so the left and right sections will be equal. A parasagittal plane or section, it'll divide the body into unequal left and right sections from top to bottom. So for example, it'll start dividing the body from the shoulder as opposed to dividing the body directly down the middle towards the belly button. Then we have our frontal plane. Our frontal plane divides our body into equal front and back sections, equal anterior and posterior sections. Then we have the transverse plane that divides the body into inferior and superior parts, meaning that it divides the body into top and bottom parts.